Argentina, Hawaii, Wyoming, and Spain. While he's been critical of the war since the beginning, the issue that made him come home and run for Congress was the oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico. Joe feels his lack of political experience might be a feather in his cap. He admits everyone in Washington might have more political experience than him, but the question is, what are they doing with it? Joe says, nothing. We need people with ideas. We've seen that experience can be a good thing or a bad thing, but without new ideas, none of it matters. As an environmentalist, Joe leads by example, unlike many politicians who talk about CO2 reduction while flying in private jets. Joe's here tonight after flying from Martha's Vineyard from his private jet.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here. My opponents want to make this campaign about jobs, and it's a very noble thing for someone who has a job to fight for someone who doesn't have a job. Like you, I believe they have the common good at heart, but as a tradesman, after being forced to look for work myself, it dawned on me that jobs aren't born of the rhetoric and repetition of the words jobs, jobs, jobs. Jobs are born of bold and new ideas. They come from entrepreneurs who aren't afraid to take risks. Few politicians are still willing to take risks. I admire the ones who do, but I find it ironic that the most powerful nation in the world is so overwhelmingly run by cowards who would rather do what's popular than what's right. Without addressing controversy, there can be no transparency. I applaud my opponents for their enthusiasm when it comes to transparency, and ask that they join me in addressing controversial issues. There's more at stake here than just our own political future. We owe it to the country to be stronger rather than simply popular. My opponents are very good speakers, and I don't have that. All I have to offer is the truth, and with the truth we can bring the far left, the far right, and everyone in between together. By uniting on common ground, we can stand against corruption, but divided we fall. The right calls it the socialist takeover of America. The left calls it the corporate takeover. It doesn't matter what we call it, we're all seeing the same thing from different perspectives. The corporate media has played a role to fuel the fire of separation, but where they see difference, I see similarity. Issues that have been slanted to appear one-sided are in fact issues that can cater to both sides. Individual reporters could become the nation's unsung heroes and put this country back together again if they would only write to inform the people of what they have in common, rather than promote that which divides us. I will create jobs. I'll also make choices that lead to a better future. Unlike my opponents who have to hide from controversy, I can kill two birds with one stone. You want jobs? Industrial hemp can be made into over 25,000 products. Paper, plastic, paint, fabric, fuel. Hemp wouldn't just give us jobs, it would give us entirely new industries and green factories to go with it. It would mean less money going overseas to buy oil. Furthermore, when you replace petroleum-based products with hemp-based products, they become carbon neutral, so we can all kiss the carbon tax and cap-and-trade legislature goodbye. For a true environmentalist, cap-and-trade is nothing more than a cruel joke with the fingerprints of industry written all over it. But I'll talk about that later. Henry Ford made a car from hemp-based plastic that had 10 times the impact strength of steel. 1 acre of hemp can produce more paper than 4 acres of forest. Hemp paper is better quality and can be recycled twice as many times. We're being faced with the largest environmental disaster since the extinction of the dinosaur. Who the heck do politicians think they are to make solutions illegal? I asked the Tea Party, who want nothing more than constitutionally limited government, to get on board with this issue. The Constitution, being written on hemp paper itself, does not give government the right to ban this plant. It isn't a coincidence that some people still don't know about the widespread benefits of industrial hemp. Bribed politicians are afraid to talk about it. Comparing industrial hemp to marijuana is like comparing a poppy seed bagel to opium. You cannot get high from industrial hemp. Or maybe if a poppy seed bagel competed directly with petroleum, it too would be made illegal. Before the arrival of petroleum, the uses of hemp were so acknowledged that some states even made it illegal for farmers not to grow it. Henry Ford made an entire engine that ran off of it. He also said that 1 acre of hemp could produce the fuel required to fuel the machinery of that acre for 100 years. Today most plastic is petroleum-based. If we replaced it with hemp-based plastic, it would be stronger and biodegradable. 100% local, 100% renewable. What does all this mean for jobs? The hemp plant can be grown anywhere from Alaska to Florida. This means green factories can buy raw materials locally. This means mom and pop stores can start choosing from over 25,000 new and local products to sell, which are all environmentally friendly. Hemp seed, being more plentiful and nutritious than corn, can be fed to farm animals, thereby lowering the price of food and increasing its quality. Ethanol fuel made from hemp, which grows 20 feet a year, can dwarf the production of ethanol from corn, which only grows about 6 feet a year and requires more chemicals and waters to survive. We could reduce need for foreign oil and produce a fuel that is not only carbon neutral, but also sucks CO2 out of the air and pushes it into the ground through its massive root system. The list of direct and indirect benefits derived from hemp is long and impressive. Now what's the cost of all this to the taxpayers? Nothing. The only thing the government has to do is legalize a plant and let the free market run its course. I want to be perfectly clear. This resource is being restricted by the government illegally. It's an environmentally friendly resource that competes directly with paper, petroleum, and chemical industries. It will continue to be outlawed as long as we elect people who are afraid to speak out because they care more about a career than a nation. In an effort to unite the people against corruption and create more transparent government, I've taken a pledge never to accept campaign donations from corporations. I'd like to invite the other candidates to sign that pledge. For some of them, it's already too late. I've also taken a pledge to pass a bill legalizing industrial hemp in an effort to create jobs, restore the Constitution, and fight pollution. I also invite my opponents to sign this pledge. This singular issue is unpopular in the media, goes against both party lines, and is the right thing to do. For this reason, it will help determine the true character of the next candidate daring enough to put their name next to mine. There are many more controversial issues that politicians are afraid to talk about. Controversy is the Patriot Act, which has taken away our Fourth Amendment, the right to property and fair trial. Healthcare is an important issue that the government has no business talking about until we restore the Constitution. For who among us put their own health above the God-given freedom of their offspring? Our leaders have led us astray. They have tasted the forbidden fruit, and we're soon to follow. Sacrifice is not only the duty of a soldier, but the responsibility of all true patriots of freedom. For what purpose have we convinced our sons and daughters to die, if not to uphold the values of our Constitution? I, for one, will neither confuse nor sacrifice my God-given right as a human being for the right a consumer has to go out and buy junk. Benjamin Franklin said, "Those who are willing to sacrifice their freedoms for their safety deserve neither and will lose both." And will lose both. This is what the Patriot Act does, the most unpatriotic act of all. For a government to ask its warriors to die for a constitution which that same government refuses to uphold is a hypocrisy which must be exposed. With the Patriot Act, Washington has broken the same oath our warriors have sworn to defend. What luck keeps these same soldiers from turning around and marching on Washington? This is the situation into which politicians who support the war have put our troops. The dilemma of choosing between breaking an oath and following orders. I don't want to. For the soldiers who later became politicians and continue to support the war, I say this. They were good soldiers who learned to obey orders and not question them. But we need politicians who can think for themselves, not more of the same. There's a huge difference between supporting the war and supporting the troops. I support the troops. It's my generation fighting over there. I won't sit back and watch them become the cannon fodder of a bad idea. Any politician allowing our military to become the plaything of Wall Street does not support them. I support the troops, and that's why I'm forced to protect them. In fights which are anything but defensive, and arguments for war which are anything less than perfect. Thanks for your time.